This is Let's Finally Talk, a heart-to-heart with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, live streaming every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Join me on YouTube at Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, on Facebook at Dr. Jacalyn, and on Instagram at Dr. Jacalyn, as seen and heard on the USA Global TV and Radio Network worldwide. We've earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award, and I've earned the 100 Global Top Women Icons in Media. My TV shows are Iconic Women, Creating a World of Possibilities, Judgment, the Hidden Sin, A Woman's Prerogative, Sisterhood Across Borders, It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, and the latest updates. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow. We're streaming every night live on Let's Finally Talk. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's so nice to have you here. If this is your first time joining us on Let's Finally Talk, it's an absolute pleasure. This is a program that I am striving to do every single evening, and I'm finding that I might have to change the times based on our production schedule. So normally this would be at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, but we've already got another show at that time, so coming a little earlier to you. So this program is all about what I can share in terms of my key learnings and what I put into this book, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, and also into this one, Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment. So this show is not about a lecture. It is basically about sharing what I've learned in my journey as a life, career, and executive coach, and also as someone who is in the public domain. So every episode is building on a previous one. So today our episode is Who Am I When No One's Watching? And we've already talked about taking off the masks, if you think of the masks that we wear, and the image that we want to portray. And we've talked about not being able to change other people. So tonight we're going to be talking about who we really are. And I remember when I was in corporate, I had a fabulous career. I really am very blessed. I work with a number of wonderful people. One of the places where I worked, our tagline was kind of, we are always doing the right thing, even when no one's looking. And so that's a pretty big statement for a business to make. And I always took that to heart because we really did. And I'm sure they're still doing it. And with social media being so prevalent, and for example, I'm on social media all day because this business, this television network is on social media as well as other platforms. And we can see sometimes it looks like everything's great and people have an amazing life. And we think to ourselves, why can't that be me? Well, that's not always the case. So I want us to start with ourselves. I'm going to start with myself. I have not always done all the right things. I've not always made the right decisions. I've definitely made mistakes in my life. And I remember in the phases of my life when I was going through that, it really bothered me. It really bothered me because I felt like I wasn't being honest to myself. And so as life goes, we have choices to make. Do we want to live like that, or do we want to honor who we are and be fully present and be at peace with who we are? So at this stage of my life, I'm very happy to say I'm very at peace. I'm very happy with who I am and where I am. And I'm grateful that I had the journey that I wasn't happy with who I was or where I was, and I learned a lot from it. So this show is not about judgment. It's about helping all of us together find our peace. And so I want you to think back to a time when you were with someone and you knew them in one capacity and maybe you saw them in another capacity and they weren't the same. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you are working in a company and you end up going out to a team dinner, a team lunch, something like that. And all of a sudden, these people you're working with are completely different than they were in the office. Maybe they're having a few drinks, or maybe they're having some kind of conversation that you don't really feel comfortable around. And all of a sudden you think to yourself, wow, I didn't see that side of this person before. And maybe you have a judgment and maybe you don't. But sometimes people show us who they want us to believe they really are. But yet that's not who they really are at their core. And I can think of an example of someone I knew, and they were one way in public and one way in private. And it really stood out for me because the way I am right now, I just came from the gym. Okay. I have hair that's left over from doing 2 workouts and sweating. I didn't do anything to it. I put on a little bit of makeup, but I'm here. It's freezing where I am. I've got a thing on top of my dress. And I promised myself I would do this show every night. So I'm just showing up whichever way I can. I forgot to put my earrings on. I'm here just as I am. And if you were to meet me in public, I'm the same way I am now. But many times people are not the same way. And so they portray one face to the public, and then they have another face at home. And let's look at an extreme example, which I don't even like to bring up, but I'm going to. There are times in life when people are in abusive relationships. I actually have been in an abusive relationship. I actually was raped. I've been beaten up. And during those times, I was so ashamed of myself that I never actually thought about the person I was involved with and how this all happened. And so the way I was showing up was that everything was fine. And meanwhile, I was really just a scared little girl inside. And as a grown woman, I still carry that scared little girl. And so instead of addressing it and dealing with it, I actually suppressed it. And I think that's a big reason why I ended up getting ulcerative colitis, because the body definitely reacts. And so this person who did this, and actually it was not all the same person, but let's just talk about the person who beat me up. I let it happen, obviously, but the person had a very respectable job. The person was working 9 to 5 in a business and was very well dressed and very well spoken. And so no one would have ever believed it. And so when I actually shared it with someone, and this person I was very close to, they believed me. And it was my mother. She believed me. And she said, I'm getting you out of the situation right now. And just like that, she got me out of the situation. And I'll never forget that. But for the time that I was going through that, I really thought that it was my fault. And I wasn't being my authentic self. And so sometimes situations happen to us. And instead of us saying, wait a minute, I know this isn't right. It doesn't feel right in my bones. It's not my fault. Raising our hand and doing something about it, we don't. And there's no judgment about it. Many of you who are watching, you might be judging me for sharing this. And that's okay. That's on you. Whatever your opinion is of me, I have no opinion of it. I'm just here to share examples and to bring awareness to different situations. So just because we see someone who looks like they have it all together, that doesn't mean that they do. And I'll give you another example. I was asked to speak at an event, and this was actually for a charity. And at the time, I was in the throes of an ulcerative colitis flare. And if you're not familiar with it, and this might turn some people off also, and that's okay. When someone has ulcerative colitis, when I've had ulcerative colitis, I may be running to the restroom 50 times a day. 50. Sometimes I'll just sleep in there because it's exhausting. And I had to do this event. And so I decided not to eat for a period of time. I think it was 3 days. And I was exhausted, but I made a commitment to do something. So when I finally got to the event, I was able to pull myself together and go there. I gave my speech. It was videoed, and it was actually 11 minutes long. And I finished, and then I thought, okay, I need to get to the restroom. So as I was going into the restroom, there was a woman there, and I could tell she was also ill, because when you have an illness like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, you can see it on someone's face. You can see the pain. And she said to me that she did not want to be at that event, and that she's so glad that she came because I gave her a reason to live. And that really touched me. And part of the reason that I bring it up is because I was up on the stage and it looked like I had it all together. But what I shared during that speech was that I didn't even know if I'd make it through the speech because the ulcerative colitis flare was that bad. And so when I saw this young woman and I gave her a hug, I said, everything's not the way it always seems. And the fact that you did show up for this event, that really says something. So you're not putting on a face, you're not putting on airs. You showed up and you're ill and you're being honest. And I said, and that's what counts. It's being honest to ourselves, not caring about what other people think. So if you are someone who is in a situation, whether you are with a partner or a family member or it's business, whatever the case may be, and you don't feel like you are safe mentally or physically, I urge you to do something about it, because playing a role and acting like this is okay and you are who you are and you don't see what's going on, you're just going to put your head down in the sand, is not helping you and it's not helping someone else. So I'm actually sorry that I did that, and I couldn't do it today. So in other words, if something happens to me in the future, I will not be hiding it. I will be raising my hand and saying, no, this isn't okay. So back when I was actually raped, I actually told someone in my family, and I've shared this before, it's in one of my books, and I was told that it was my fault, that I shouldn't have left with this person. It was a date rape, if you will. I shouldn't have left with him. And yet I was still underage and I didn't know any better. And I didn't get the safety, the love, and the compassion that I really could have used in those moments. But, I give that person grace. But today I think to myself, had I gotten a different reaction, maybe a hug, maybe, you know what, it's okay, I'm here for you, maybe things would have been different. But that's regret. And we can't go backwards because we don't know what would have happened. That person's not here anymore, and I've moved on, and we all have choices to make. So part of what I want to share with you in this episode is we can't worry about if someone else is showing up and they're being authentic. We can only be concerned with ourselves. So I want you to ask yourself, when you think of yourself, are you being kind? Are you being genuine? Are you being real? Are you comfortable in your own skin? I know people who are habitually in relationships because they cannot stand to be alone. I know people who have the television on all day and all night when they're at home because they can't stand being alone. And so when I've had conversations with these individuals, I've said, what's coming up for you when you're by yourself? I don't know who I am is the answer, or I don't like who I am, or I need someone to fulfill me. And as a coach, and for all of you coaches who are out there, we know that no one can fulfill us. We have to fill our own cup. One of the workout classes I took tonight was with Jenny. She does a great job. And she's almost like a motivational speaker when she's talking you through the workouts. And everything that she says really resonates with me. And it gives me a lot of excitement to work harder and do more. Because when we look in the mirror, that's our biggest cheerleader. We're our biggest coach and our biggest fan. And if you're not feeling like that, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it first and say, okay, this is where I am today. It's November 3rd here, and it's November 4th in other places. But this is where we are today. We have to learn how to love ourselves. We have to be our own biggest cheerleader. I spend quite a lot of time by myself, and it's actually by choice. I really like being alone because I have so many things that I want to accomplish, and I don't have to worry about being in a relationship. And I actually just had a conversation with someone about this recently. I'm not interested in being in a romantic relationship because at this stage in my life, 62, I am so excited about what I'm doing that I don't want to share it with anyone else. I'll share it with the world in a public domain way, but I don't need the pat on the back. I don't need the accolades. I don't need the questions. I don't need to be compromising so I can fit someone else into my schedule. So I'm being as authentic as I possibly can. And to me, that's really being true to who I am. And we've got a comment. Renee, you did such a great job on the show earlier today with the audio method. Thank you so much. Renee writes, love it. The mirror is your best friend. And Renee is starting her own show later this month. So I'm really excited. She is a fabulous TV show host, and she's a wonderful asset to our family here at USA Global TV and Radio. So once you look in the mirror and you make the decision right then, I'm happy with who I am. I really feel like I need to work on some things, or I'm completely not happy. I'm not at peace. Maybe I'm in a relationship that I just don't want to be in, but I'm here because of the money, or I'm here because I don't want to be alone. There's so many different answers. I'm here because of the kids. I'm here because of the in-laws. It can go on and on and on. Only you can know the truth of it. But one day you will wake up or turn around or look back and say, wow, what did I do with all that time? I stayed in that situation. I stayed at that job. I stayed at that company. I put myself in that situation and I was so unhappy, but I was grounded in fear. So if you are one way in public and you're one way in private, have a look at that. Have a look at that and say to yourself, what's really going on at the core? Why I'm acting one way in public and I'm acting one way in private? I don't know the answer to that. I do know that when we start to look at ourselves, sometimes there's pain. Sometimes there's trauma. Sometimes there's something that was so horrifying at the time that we have repressed it. And I know for myself, I had wonderful parents and I had a wonderful time growing up, but there are times in my childhood I do not remember. And I don't know if that's because of trauma. I do know when I was raped, I was 18, and I can remember that like it was yesterday. And I did put it in one of my books. I do know as a young adult, when I was in a situation and I was being beaten up, I do remember that. So it's kind of interesting that as a young child, having a good childhood, that I don't remember some of the things. But I can tell you today at 62, I am living my best life. And I'm very comfortable in my own skin. When I first got my life coaching training, which I forget what year that was, but I remember the woman who was leading it, Mariana Lead. She said, as coaches, we have to be authentic. We cannot be working with clients and encouraging them to share and encouraging them to be open and honest if we're not being open and honest in our own lives. So I want you to think about that as a parent, as a partner, as a leader, as a mentor, as a coach, as a friend. Are you showing up and being honest and true so that when you look back on your day, on your week, on your month, on your life, that you say, wow, I didn't always show up as authentic, but I am now. And to me, I think that that says a lot. It's so freeing. You don't have all that stress pretending to be someone else. And I'll share something else with you. Many of you who know me or you see me, I've got long nails. I've got really long nails. Okay. I'm lifting weights with this. There's some things I physically cannot do. I have to find workarounds. Okay. I like them. I love them. Many people don't. They make comments, they stare, or maybe they'll say, that's interesting, or they'll make an offhanded comment. I don't really care that you don't like my nails. I love them. And you may think to yourself, because I've had people say this to me, how do you function? I don't know. I think I'm functioning pretty well. I don't want them to break because that's painful. And then I have to go and get them repaired and that costs extra money. But I'm very careful about what I'm doing, especially with the weights, weightlifting, or when I'm running. So I'm being authentic to myself in terms of how I look. Now, today, the way I'm dressed, you might not like it. I'm wearing a dress that has lace sleeves, and then I've got this thing over top of it. There's no rhyme or reason. I've actually got slippers on too. They're black sequin slippers, but I'm very happy with the way I look. And so, are you happy with how you look? Are you happy with how you're showing up? And again, there's no judgment. It's just an encouragement to find a place where you are peaceful with who you are, where you don't need distractions. Many times, as I mentioned with the television, we will purposefully have distractions so that we don't have to focus on who we are. And I'll give an example. I hear this all the time. You know what? I wish I could do something, but I'm really busy. I'm so busy. Everyone is busy. Otherwise, we're busy living or we're busy dying, right? It's one or the other. So when you're saying you're so busy, what are you busy doing? Are you busy avoiding looking at who you are? Are you busy coming up with excuses about why you're not present in your own life? I don't know the answers to this. But what I do know, as much as I love this, I'm looking at the clock and I have to produce a television show for Justin Merigliani. So I have to be in another studio right this minute. So I'm going to say thank you very much. We're not running any sponsorships. I'm just going to put the close out and I will be back again tomorrow. If you like what you're hearing, please let me know. Renee, thank you for the comments. I can't tell you how much it means to be here live and have somebody that I really admire and respect engaging with me. So thank you. Put some comments in. Please go and subscribe to our channels. We actually have two, which are USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, completely different audiences. And we are also on Amazon Fire. Some of our shows are streamed to our distributors and take them out to hundreds of platforms. We're also on the major podcast platforms after the show is over. So thank you again for watching wherever you are. We're signing off for now. Stay tuned for Justin's show. It'll be coming up. He has a great guest, and it's a very special topic about a documentary about one of the Philadelphia Flyers. And the documentary person, the filmmaker, I believe, is Charlie Min. So stay tuned for that right here. You as a whole, body, mind, and soul. Bye for now. This is Let's Finally Talk, a heart-to-heart with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Live streaming every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Join me on YouTube at Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, on Facebook at Dr. Jacalyn, and on Instagram at Dr. Jacalyn, as seen and heard on the USA Global TV and Radio Network worldwide. We've earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award, and I've earned the 100 Global Top Women Icons in Media. My TV shows are Iconic Women, Creating a World of Possibilities, Judgment, the Hidden Sin, A Woman's Prerogative, Sisterhood Across Borders, It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, and the latest updates. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow. We're streaming every night live on Let's Finally Talk.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.